Hello everyone, welcome to Manil's Life Lessons channel. Today I created a series of interview questions on SQL. These going to help you in cracking the interviews. Let's deeply dive into the questions one by one and discuss. The first question is, what is SQL? After each question, please pause interview and try to answer yourself. First question is, what is a SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is language used to interact with the database. That is, to create a database, to create a table in the database, to retrieve data or update table in the database, etc. SQL is an ANSI standard. ANSI stands for American National Standards Institute. Using SQL, we can do many things. For example, we can create and we can execute queries, we can insert records into table, can update records, can create a database, can create a table, can delete a table. Let's move into the second question. What is a database? A database is defined as a structured form of data storage in a computer or a collection of data in an organized manner and can be accessed in various ways. It is also the collection of schema, table, queries, views, etc. Database helps us with easily storing, accessing, and manipulating data held on computer. The database management system allows a user to interact with the database. Third question. Does SQL support programming language features? Yes, it is true that SQL is a language, but it does not support programming as it is not a programming language. It is a command language. We do not have conditional statements in SQL like for loop or if else and so on. We only have commands which we can use to query, update, delete, etc. Data is the data in the database. SQL allows us to manipulate data in a database. Fourth question is, what is the difference between char and varchar2 data type in SQL? Both of these data types are used for characters, but varchar2 is used for character string of variable length, whereas char is used for character string of fixed length. For example, if we specify that type as char of 5, then we will not be allowed to store a string of any other length in this variable. For example, if you cannot insert a particular value which has exactly 3 length or 2 length. But if you use a specify the type of this variable as varchar2 of 5, then we will be allowed to store strings of variable length from 1 to 5. We can store a string of length, for example, here 1 length character, 3 length character, 4 length character, up to 5. Fifth question is, what do you mean by data definition language? Data definition language, we can call in other way DDL also. So DDL allows to execute or execution of a queries like create, drop, and alter. The syntax for this DDL is create table, table name, whatever the table name, if you want to give the table name, you can give here, and column name, and after that the data type also we have to mention, and constraints also we have to mention, like constraint, whereas like not null. So these values, these constraints we can give here, and column name another column name if you want to give, and you can mention that a data type also, constraint also, and so on. You can give multiple column names with their data types and constraints. So, and we can mention the primary key also. So primary key, we can apply on a particular column name on which you want to apply a primary key. That particular column name we have to mention. And foreign key is a kind of relation between two tables. Like it's a kind of linking between the two tables. A table, for example, if you take an order table and a customer table, so to link between these two tables, we can maintain a foreign key. Foreign key is in a primary table is a foreign key. Same key will be a primary key in another table. So see here, I'm creating the table orders with the create table order. OID is the order ID and the type is the int and not null is the constraint. Same as order number also given with the int is the type and not null is the constraint. So CID, which is a foreign key here, and same thing is a primary key in the some customer table. So this is an example of creation of a table along with their types and constraints and primary and foreign key. So we are applying primary key on OID and foreign key on CID. The same CID is a reference from the customer table. There it has a primary key. Next question. What do you mean by data manipulation language? Data manipulation language or DML is used to access or manipulate data in the database. It allows us to perform the below limited functions. If interviewer asks you DML also, what is mean by DML also, you have to give the same answer. So the functions which are as part of DML are insert data or row in a database. So you can use here insert query to insert a particular records into a table. And delete also there, like delete data from the database. Like you can use here delete query and retrieve or fetch data also. So for that you have to use the select query. Update data in a database. So here you have to use the update query. Next question is, what is the view in SQL? Views in SQL are a kind of virtual table. A view also has rows and columns as they are on a real table in the database. We can create a view by selecting fields from one or more tables present in the database. A view can either have all the rows of a table or specific rows based on certain conditions. So basic syntax of creation of view as below, like create a view, like view name as select query from a particular table and by applying the particular condition. So we can create a views. So views is generally a kind of select query with the select query and a condition, whatever the data you are getting, that data you can create as a temporary table and you can name it as a view. So that is the basic purpose of this. And view name of the view, a table name is the name of the table, and condition is the where condition, like where order ID equal to 1 and 1 or 2, some so and so. So that is the basic purpose here. Let's move to next question. What do you mean by foreign key? A foreign key is a field that can uniquely identify each row in another table, and this constraint is used to specify a field as a foreign key. That is, this field points to the primary key of another table. This usually creates a kind of link between the two tables as we discussed already. Let's see the examples here. Orders is the one table, customers is the another table. Orders table has OID, order number, customer ID. So it represents the each order is belongs to which customer. So that relation we are maintaining between this orders table and customers table using the CID. So CID is a foreign key in the orders table and primary key in the customers table. And OID is a primary key in the orders table. So for example, customer 1 has order 4, whereas customer 3 means uh, Dharmesh has 2 orders, which we can see a link in the orders table. 3 has 2 records, so these 2 orders are belongs to customer 3. His name is Dharmesh. Let's move to next question. What are table and field? A table has a combination of rows and columns. Rows are called records and columns are called fields. In MS SQL Server, the tables are being designed within the database and schema names. Field. In DBMS, a database field can be defined as a single piece of information from a record. For example, let's see in this orders table, the which is highlighted, that is a row. And so this one, the OID one is a cell, we can say, or field also we can say, which I highlighted here. So let's move to the final question. What is the primary key? A primary key is one of the candidate keys. One of the candidate keys is selected as the most important and becomes the primary key. This cannot be more than one primary key in the table.